A tuna is a saltwater finfish that belongs to the tribe Thunnini, a subgrouping of the mackerel familia euro, which together with the tunas, also includes the bonitos, mackerels, and Spanish mackerels. Thunnini comprises 15 species across 5 genera, the sizes of which vary greatly, ranging from the bullet tuna, weight, 1.8 kg, up to the Atlantic bluefin tuna, weight, 684 kg. The bluefin averages 2 am, and is believed to live for up to 50 years. Their circulatory and respiratory systems are unique among fish, enabling them to maintain a body temperature higher than that of the surrounding water. An active and agile predator, the tuna has a sleek, streamlined body, and is among the fastest swimming pelagic fish. The yellowfin tuna, for example, is capable of speeds of up to 75 km per hour. Found in warm seas, it is extensively fished commercially, and is popular as a game fish. As a result of overfishing, stocks of some tuna species such as the southern bluefin tuna have been reduced dangerously close to the point of extinction. Etymology: the term tuna derives from thunnis, the Middle Latin form of the ancient Greek, I 1/2 I 1/2 I is, tha 1/2 nnos, aa euro oet honey fisher euro aa euro, which is in turn derived from I 1/2 I per mil, to rush. To dart. Taxonomy: the Thunnini tribe is a monophyletic clade comprising 15 species and 5 genera. Family Scombridae, tribe Thunnini, the tunas, genus Thunnus, slender tunas, genus Ois, frigate tunas, genus Euthinus, little tunas, genus Katsunus, skipjack tunas, genus Thunnus, albacores, true tunas, subgenus Thunnus, bluefin group, subgenus Thunnus, yellowfin group. The cladogram is a tool for visualizing and comparing the evolutionary relationships between taxons, and is read left to right as if on a timeline. The following cladogram illustrates the relationship between the tunas and other tribes of the family Scombridae. For example, the cladogram illustrates that the skipjack tunas are more closely related to the true tunas than are the slender tunas, and that the next nearest relatives of the tunas are the bonitos of the Thunnini tribe. True tuna species. The true tunas are those that belong to the genus Thunnus. Until recently, it was thought that there were 7 Thunnus species, and that Atlantic bluefin tuna and Pacific bluefin tuna were subspecies of a single species. In 1999, Collette established that based on both molecular and morphological considerations, they are in fact distinct species. The genus Thunnus is further classified into 2 subgenera, Thunnus and Thunnus. Other tuna species. The Thunnini tribe also includes 7 additional species of tuna across 4 genera. They are: Biology. Description: the tuna is a sleek and streamlined fish, adapted for speed. It has 2 closely spaced dorsal fins on its back. The first is depressible aa euro. It can be laid down, flush, in a groove that runs along its back. 7 to 10 yellowfinlets run from the dorsal fins to the tail, which is lunatia euro, curved like a crescent moon euro, and tapered to pointy tips. The caudal peduncle, to which the tail is attached, is quite thin, with 3 stabilizing horizontal keels on each side. The tuna's dorsal side is generally a metallic dark blue, while the ventral side, or underside, is silvery or whitish, for camouflage. Tuna is commonly eaten fresh as sushi, or it is canned for later eating. Physiology: Thunnus are widely but sparsely distributed throughout the oceans of the world, generally in tropical and temperate waters between about 45 degrees north and south of the equator. All tunas are able to maintain the temperature of certain parts of their body above the temperature of ambient seawater. For example, bluefin can maintain a core body temperature of 25 euro 33 AA degrees Celsius, in water as cold as 6 AA degrees Celsius. However, unlike typical endothermic creatures such as mammals and birds, tuna do not maintain temperature within a relatively narrow range. Tuna achieve endothermy by conserving the heat generated through normal metabolism. The rete mirabile, the intertwining of veins and arteries in the body's periphery, allows much of the heat from venous blood to be reclaimed, and transferred to the arterial blood via a countercurrent exchange system, thus mitigating the effects of surface cooling. This allows the tuna to elevate the temperatures of the highly aerobic tissues of the skeletal muscles, eyes and brain, which supports faster swimming speeds and reduced energy expenditure, and which enables them to survive in cooler waters over a wider range of ocean environments than those of other fish. In all tunas, however, the heart operates at ambient temperature, as it receives cooled blood, and coronary circulation is directly from the gills. Also, unlike most fish, which have white flesh, the muscle tissue of tuna ranges from pink to dark red. The red myotomal muscles derive their color from myoglobin, an oxygen-binding molecule, which tuna express in quantities far higher than most other fish. The oxygen-rich blood further enables energy delivery to their muscles. For powerful swimming animals like dolphins and tuna, cavitation may be detrimental, because it limits their maximum swimming speed. Even if they have the power to swim faster, dolphins may have to restrict their speed, because collapsing cavitation bubbles on their tail are too painful. Cavitation also slows tuna, but for a different reason. Unlike dolphins, these fish do not feel the bubbles, because they have bony fins without nerve endings. Nevertheless, they cannot swim faster because the cavitation bubbles create a vapor film around their fins that limits their speed. Lesions have been found on tuna that are consistent with cavitation damage. Fishing industry. Commercial fishing. Tuna is an important commercial fish. The International Seafood Sustainability Foundation compiled a detailed scientific report on the state of global tuna stocks in 2009, which includes regular updates. According to the ISSF, the most important species for commercial and recreational tuna fisheries are yellowfin, pike, bluefin, albacore, and skipjack. The report further states, between 1940 and the mid-1960s, the annual world catch of the 5 principal market species of tunas rose from about 300,000 tons to about 1 million tons, most of it taken by hook and line. With the development of purse seine nets, now the predominant gear, catches have risen to more than 4 million tons annually during the last few years. Of these catches, about 68% are from the Pacific Ocean, 22% from the Indian Ocean, and the remaining 10% from the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. Skipjack makes up about 60% of the catch, followed by yellowfin, pike, albacore, and bluefin the remainder. Purse seines take about 62% of the world production, longline about 14%, pole and line about 11%, and a variety of other gears the remainder 3%. The Australian government alleged in 2006 that Japan had illegally overfished southern bluefin by taking 12,000 to 20,000 tons per year instead of their agreed 6,000 tons. The value of such overfishing would be as much as USD $2 billion. Such overfishing has severely damaged bluefin stocks. According to the WWF, Japan's huge appetite for tuna will take the most sought-after stocks to the brink of commercial extinction unless fisheries agree on more rigid quotas. Japan's Fisheries Research Agency counters that Australian and New Zealand tuna fishing companies underreport their total catches of southern bluefin tuna and ignore internationally mandated total allowable catch totals. In recent years, opening day fish auctions at Tokyo's Tsukiji Fish Market have seen record-setting prices for bluefin tuna, reflecting market demand. In each of 2010, 2011, 2012 and 2013, new record prices have been set for a single fish €. The current record is 155.4 million Japanese yen for a 221 kg bluefin, or a unit price of JPY to 703,167 per kilogram. Prices plummeted in 2014. A summary of record-setting auctions are shown in the following table. In November 2011, a different record was set when a fisherman in Massachusetts caught an 881-pound tuna. It was captured inadvertently using a drag net. Due to the laws and restrictions on tuna fishing in the United States, federal authorities impounded the fish because it was not caught with a rod and reel. Because of the tuna's deteriorated condition as a result of the trawl net, the fish sold for just under $5,000. Fishing methods. Andalusian method of Almadraba, uses a maze of nets. In Sicily, The same method is called Tuna. Fish farming, tuna ranching, longline fishing, purse seines, pole and line, harpoon gun, big game fishing, fish aggregating device, association with whaling. In 2005 Nauru, defending its vote from Australian criticism at that year's meeting of the International Whaling Commission, argued that some whale species have the potential to devastate Nauru's tuna stocks, and that Nauru's food security and economy relies heavily on fishing. Despite this, Nauru does not permit whaling in its own waters and does not allow other fishing vessels to take or intentionally interact with marine mammals in its exclusive economic zone. In 2010 and 2011 Nauru supported Australian proposals for a Western Pacific-wide ban on tuna purse seining in the vicinity of marine mammals, a measure which was agreed by the Western and Central Pacific Fisheries Commission at its 8th meeting in March 2012. Association with dolphins. Dolphins swim beside several tuna species. These include yellowfin tuna in the eastern Pacific Ocean, but not albacore. Tuna schools are believed to associate themselves with dolphins for protection against sharks, which are tuna predators. Commercial fishing vessels used to exploit this association by searching for dolphin pods. Vessels would encircle the pod with nets to catch the tuna beneath, however the nets were prone to entangling dolphins, injuring or killing them. Public outcry and new government regulations, which are now monitored by NOAA, have led to more dolphin-friendly methods, now generally involving lines rather than nets. However, there are neither universal independent inspection programs nor verification of dolphin safeness, so these protections are not absolute. According to Consumers Union, the resulting lack of accountability means claims that tuna that is dolphin safe should be given little credence. Fishery practices have changed to be dolphin-friendly, which has caused greater bycatch including sharks, turtles and other oceanic fish. Fishermen no longer follow dolphins, but concentrate their fisheries around floating objects such as fish aggregation devices, also known as FADs, which attract large populations of other organisms. Measures taken thus far to satisfy the public demand to protect dolphins can be potentially damaging to other species as well. Aquaculture, increasing quantities of high-grade tuna are reared in net pens and fed bait fish. In Australia, former fishermen raise southern bluefin tuna, Thunnus macaulay, and another bluefin species. Farming its close relative, the Atlantic bluefin tuna, Thunnus thinus, is beginning in the Mediterranean, North America and Japan. Hawaii approved permits for the first U.S. offshore farming of pike tuna in water 1,300 feet deep in 2009. Japan is the biggest tuna-consuming nation and is also the leader in tuna farming research. Japan first successfully farm-hatched and raised bluefin tuna in 1979. In 2002, it succeeded in completing the reproduction cycle and in 2007, completed a third generation. The farm breed is known as Kindai tuna. Kindai is the contraction of Kinki University in Japanese. In 2009, Clean Seas, an Australian company which has been receiving assistance from Kinki University, managed to breed southern bluefin tuna in captivity and was awarded the second place in World's Best Invention of 2009 by Time magazine. As food, canned tuna was first produced in 1903, quickly becoming popular. Tuna is canned in edible oils, in brine, in water, and in various sauces. Tuna may be processed to be chunked, or flaked. In the United States, 52% of canned tuna is used for sandwiches, 22% for salads, and 15% for casseroles and dried, packaged meal mixes. In the United States, only albacore can legally be sold in can form as white meat tuna. In other countries, yellowfin is also acceptable. While in the early 1980s canned tuna in Australia was most likely southern bluefin, as of 2003 it was usually yellowfin, skipjack, or tongil. As tunas are often caught far from where they are processed, poor interim conservation can lead to spoilage. Tuna is typically gutted by hand, and later pre-cooked for prescribed times of 45 minutes to 3 hours. The fish are then cleaned and filleted, canned, and sealed, with the dark lateral blood meat often separately canned for pet food. The sealed can is then heated under pressure for 2 to 4 hours. This process kills any bacteria, but retains the histamine that can produce rancid flavors. The international standard sets the maximum histamine level at 200 mg per kilogram. An Australian study of 53 varieties of unflavored canned tuna found none to exceed the safe histamine level, although some had off flavors. Australian standards once required cans of tuna to contain at least 51% tuna, but these regulations were dropped in 2003. The remaining weight is usually oil or water. In the U.S., the FDA regulates canned tuna. Nutrition and health. Tuna can be a good source of omega-3 fatty acids. It can contain 300 mg per serving. However, the level of omega-3 oils found in canned tuna is highly variable, since some common manufacturing methods destroy much of the omega-3 oils in the fish. Tuna is also a good source of protein. Mercury levels. Mercury content in tuna can vary widely. For instance, testing by Rutgers University reportedly found that a can of Starkist had 10 times more mercury than another can of similarly identified tuna. This has prompted a Rutgers University scientist whose staff conducted the mercury analysis to say, "That's one of the reasons pregnant women have to be really careful. If you happen to get a couple or 3 cans in the high range at a critical period when you are pregnant, it would not be good." Among those calling for improved warnings about mercury in tuna is the American Medical Association, which adopted a policy that physicians should help make their patients more aware of the potential risks. A study published in 2008 found that mercury distribution in the meat of farm tuna is inversely related to the lipid content, suggesting that higher lipid concentration within edible tissues of tuna raised in captivity might, other factors remaining equal, have a diluting effect on mercury content. These findings suggest that choosing to consume a type of tuna that has a relatively higher natural fat content might help reduce the amount of mercury intake, compared to consuming tuna with a low fat content. Due to their high position in the food chain and the subsequent accumulation of heavy metals from their diet, mercury levels can be high in larger species such as bluefin and albacore. In 2009, a California appeals court upheld a ruling that canned tuna does not need warning labels as the methylmercury is naturally occurring. In March 2004, the United States FDA issued guidelines recommending that pregnant women, nursing mothers, and children limit their intake of tuna and other predatory fish. The Environmental Protection Agency provides guidelines on how much canned tuna it is safe to eat. Roughly speaking, the guidelines recommend 1 6-ounce can of light tuna a week for those weighing less than 110 pounds and 2 cans a week for those who weigh more. In 2007 it was reported that some canned light tuna such as yellowfin tuna is significantly higher in mercury than skipjack, and caused Consumers Union and other activist groups to advise pregnant women to refrain from consuming canned tuna. The eastern little tuna has been available for decades as a low-mercury, less expensive canned tuna. However, of the 5 major species of canned tuna imported by the United States, it is the least commercially attractive, primarily due to its dark color and more pronounced fishy flavor. Its use has traditionally been restricted to institutional commerce. A January 2008 investigation conducted by the New York Times found potentially dangerous levels of mercury in certain varieties of sushi tuna, reporting levels so high that the Food and Drug Administration could take legal action to remove the fish from the market. A book by Jane Hightower, Diagnosis Mercury, Money, Politics and Poison, published in 2008, discusses human exposure to mercury through eating large predatory fish such as large tuna. Management and conservation. There are 5 main tuna fishery management bodies: the Western Central Pacific Ocean Fisheries Commission, the Inter-American Tropical Tuna Commission, the Indian Ocean Tuna Commission, the International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tunas and the Commission for the Conservation of Southern Bluefin Tuna. The 5 gathered for the first time in Kobe, Japan in January 2007. Environmental organizations made submissions on risks to fisheries and species. The meeting concluded with an action plan drafted by some 60 countries or areas. Concrete steps include issuing certificates of origin to prevent illegal fishing and greater transparency in the setting of regional fishing quotas. The delegates are scheduled to meet at another joint meeting in January or February 2009 in Europe. In 2010, Greenpeace International has added the albacore, bike tuna, Pacific bluefin tuna, Atlantic bluefin tuna, Southern bluefin tuna and the yellowfin tuna to its seafood red list. The Greenpeace International Seafood Red List is a list of fish that are commonly sold in supermarkets around the world, and which have a very high risk of being sourced from unsustainable fisheries. It is widely accepted that bluefin tuna have been severely overfished, with some stocks at risk of collapse. According to the International Seafood Sustainability Foundation, Indian Ocean yellowfin tuna, Pacific Ocean bike tuna, and North Atlantic albacore tuna are all overfished. In April 2009, no stock of skipjack tuna was considered to be overfished. However, the BBC documentary South Pacific, which first aired in May 2009, stated that, should fishing in the Pacific continue at its current rate, populations of all tuna species could collapse within 5 years. It highlighted huge Japanese and European tuna fishing vessels, sent to the South Pacific international waters after overfishing their own fish stocks to the point of collapse. A 2010 tuna fishery assessment report, released in January 2012 by the Secretariat of the Pacific Community, supported this finding, recommending that all tuna fishing should be reduced or limited to current levels and that limits on skipjack fishing be considered. See also, environmental effects of fishing, God mercury? Natal homing. References. Further references, Clover, Charles 2004. The End of the Line, How Overfishing is Changing the World and What We Eat. Ebury Press, London. ISBN 0-09-189780-7, FAO, Species Catalogue Volume 2 Scombridae of the World. FAO Fisheries Synopsis No. 125, Volume 2. FARS 125 Volume 2 ISBN 92-5-101381-0. FAO, Review of the State of World Marine Fishery Resources, Tuna and Tuna-like Species, Global, 2005 Rome. Majewski, Jake Tuna and Tuna-like Species in, Review of the State of World Marine Fishery Resources, FAO Fisheries Technical Paper 457, FAO, Rome. ISBN 95-5-105267-0. Majewski J., R. Izabalaga H., Karachi F. and Mura H. Tuna and Tuna-like Species in, Review of the State of World Marine Fishery Resources, pages 227-244, FAO Fisheries Technical Paper 569, FAO, Rome. ISBN 978-92-5-107023-9. Standard of Identity for Canned Tuna, Code of Federal Regulations, 21 CFR 161.190, Canned Tuna. Via plus or minus as J and Tudela SA validated methodology for genetic identification of tuna species PLO S1, 4, 10, E7606. External links, tuna.com, Tuna Market Gateway, Nutritional Benefits of Tuna, Tuna at Greenpeace, Tuna at Stanford University Microdux, News, The Bluefin Tuna in Peril, Scientific American, June 24, 2008, How Hot Tuna Stay Warm National Science Foundation, October 27, 2005, Haberman, Clyde. Tuna Fish Stories, The Candidates Spin the Sushi. The New York Times A.